Hi, well, Ranking Member Westerman, thanks so much for your leadership, Bruce. You've been really at the forefront here. And I think the incredibly important part of this is taking the original concept and continually working to make it better. As you've done things to incorporate other people's ideas, I think that's incredibly important. And I want to thank our panelists today. All of you all have brought very thoughtful and insightful viewpoints on how we can use forests as a part of not only great economic development, but what we can do to address issues of climate. And I want to kind of pose a question to all of you. And each of you have touched on little bits and pieces of this, but I think it's incredibly important for us to bring together in a single, easy to explain piece as to why the Trillion Trees Act is an incredibly important piece of legislation that hasn't taken place previously. You know, there are all kinds of different programs for reforestation. There are certain state statutes and policies, but we've never had something that brings together all of those elements to say, this is a goal that we are going to reach and the impact that it'll have on climate. All of you all have alluded to that in certain ways, but I'd like for you all to reflect and give your perspective on why you believe this effort of planting 1 trillion trees presents essentially the most cost-effective way for carbon removal and storage. And what's your response to people that said, no, this bill really isn't a serious attempt at this. It really is just distracting from what needs to be done in the larger scale on carbon removal? Because I hate it when people try to dismiss this, because I think this is a major part of what we need to do to be serious about carbon removal. You can do everything you want on reducing carbon emissions, but if you don't do anything to remove what's currently in the atmosphere, then you're never going to get to where you need to be. And there are going to be other carbon emitters on the planet that are going to continue to emit carbon. So I just wanted to get your perspective, because I think it's incredibly important to put all those pieces together and be able to, in a direct way, communicate to people as to why this is an incredibly important and impactful way to address carbon, and with that, to have an economic impact.